Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We are Charleston Playhouse, and we are so excited to start this YouTube channel to start educating the community on who we are and what we're going to be doing. So we're just going to jump into some introductions and kind of chat about who we are and how this all came to be and go from there. So why don't we start with Thomas?
So I'm excited to be here, that's for sure. I'm so happy to be with the four of you and to have the help of the community in getting this amazing venture launched. I'm from Savannah, Georgia, where I started doing theater at the age of 16. After seeing my sister in a show, I was like, I want to audition for that. And I did that show and subsequently did 8 more shows after that, and then decided to go to college at the University of Georgia to study theater, and then ended up moving to New York and then getting an MFA at Columbia University. And then it was New York, Atlanta, back to New York, Boston, then here, and here I am. So excited.
You're also going to have to name drop your sister, because you just like mentioned her like that wasn't a thing, but like you're going to have to tell them what she does.
Yeah, so it's a tough balance because I'm trying to be my own person, guys. But the truth is, my sister's name is Isabel Keating. She's a Tony Award nominee for her work as Judy Garland in The Boy from Oz in 2004, so that's exciting. But I followed in her footsteps, and we've been supporting each other as bookends. She's the eldest, I'm the youngest, and the 2 middle siblings of mine, they have nothing to do with the theater.
I love it, so that's great. So let's go next with LaTanya.
Oh, okay. My name's LaTanya Mueller, and I am a public school educator of 10 years. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, where I got my BFA in theater at Gupcher College. It's a very small liberal arts school, very small. But I had the opportunity to do a lot of theater in Baltimore and DC, which when I was a kid started out in ballet, and then when we came back to the United States, ballet was just not in the cards for me. And
Where were you doing ballet in London?
what, at the London Royal Academy of Ballet? When I was very small, yeah.
What brought you here? How'd you get to Charleston through all that?
So, I went to college in Baltimore, and at the time, Baltimore was a little dicey, so when I got married, we were looking for somewhere else to live, and I got married on Folly Beach.
Amazing.
And we were like, oh, this place is nice, and put down a down payment on a house, and moved here.
Here you
So,
are.
it's been a really fun ride. I love Charleston. It's one of my favorite cities in the whole world. Of every place I've been, it's the place that feels the most home, and so I'm really excited to do this here of all
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like we just live in paradise.
Yeah.
Like every day I'm like, what?
This is where I live.
This is where I live? Is this real?
This is what's happening.
Cool, let's do theater here. Okay. And Danny.
So I happen to be visiting Charleston. I was visiting family, and I've been coming here for 10 years, and I've been looking for an excuse to move down here, and this was it. I did a quick LinkedIn search, and this is the only thing I applied to, and here I am.
What's your backstory, like even related to theater,
Yeah,
like
so-
getting around the world? I hear you're a world traveler,
I
right?
was like 5 or 6,
Yeah.
and I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and my first play or musical ever was The Nutcracker at the Cleveland Playhouse. And I was sold on the entertainment industry. I just knew I wanted to be a part of it. And I loved to dance. I did some drama in high school, and I did my freshman year of college at American University in DC, and still kind of figuring it out. Took one cinema class and decided I wanted to pursue that, professionally, and I transferred to USC in Los Angeles and worked in the film and television industry, digital media, for about 15 years. And then I've sort of gotten to sample different facets of the industry behind the camera, in front of it, and this is so cool now to be a part of the theater community. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would ever really, I'm not on stage, but I'm just so excited to, be a part of this family. It's really exciting.
Well, I have to tell the story. I have to tell
Everything's a story, guys.
I have to tell the story of hiring Danny, because we put out, the job description into the universe, and I interviewed probably, I want to say 20 to 25 people.
So many people.
It was so many people.
Insane.
It was insane. And Danny sends me an email before our interview and literally wrote me a novel. It was like 3 pages long, of why he must be the person for this job. And I read it and I just was like, I just have to talk to this human. Like,
That's awesome.
just so passionate. It's so clear that he understood what we were doing and the value of it and why it was so important.
What about you? Like, what brought you here? Who are you?
I grew up doing theater from like 6 years old. I was very lucky to have a theater for children in my community that was an insane theater. It was like where tours came. So the theater was this huge, amazing theater with this like beautiful backstage and green rooms and all of these things, and we had our camp there. So we just like felt really spoiled. And you know, being a little kid and kind of just like going through the process of like, now I'm a camp counselor, now I'm a director, now I'm a music director, now I'm working in the marketing department, like kind of just like worked my way up in that theater up until, you know, throughout college even. I went to a high school that was it was a public high school. For some reason, it was just really known for their theater department, and we had like ridiculously talented kids, like out of nowhere. It was just random. And we did state festival 2 years in a row, and it was like, you know, you're performing in front of 2,500 people at age, you know, 17, where you're feeling that, just, you get that moment where I'll never forget, I was playing Fantine in Les Mis, and I sang I Dreamed a Dream, and that roar after, I went into the wings and like sat in a chair and was like, oh my God,
Yep.
I have to do this for the rest of my life. Like that moment, everyone has that moment, you know?
Well, that's what happened when I was 16 in
Yeah.
Savannah, a little dessert theater of all places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Keep
just,
going.
but no, but it's
That's
like,
so
it's
cool.
like everyone I feel like has that moment of like, oh no, but this is real. So yeah, I went to, I auditioned for the University of Florida's BFA musical theater program, and it was a very, very select program, and it was terrifying. It was like, they brought in 5 people a year, 5. And it was like 700 that people auditioned that year. 2 of them were girls. And I remember, like, I'll never forget, there was like a meeting with all of the parents, what's it called? Like the parents in high school?
Like a PTA.
Like a PTA meeting for drama, like the drama mamas, right? And I'm playing my violin and I have my phone on my music stand because I know that the call is coming today if it comes for the BFA. And it was the director of the program, and he called me and he's like, I just want to let you know that you have been accepted. And I ran out of the orchestra room. Like I literally, I don't even know if I might have like hurt the violin.
Goodbye, violin.
Ran out of the orchestra room and I went, I'll never forget this moment. The window of the door for the classroom, all of the drama mamas are in there and they know I'm waiting for this call. And I like stick my little head in there and I'm like, and they all just like run to the door and open the door and just like scooped me up, and it was just the best feeling in the world. But you know, I was very lucky. My high school experience, my high school drama teacher was she is still till this day my idol.
Don't we
She
know
is.
somebody in that relationship, like the daughter?
Yes, so her daughter ended up being our intern this summer in New York City for Charleston Playhouse, which was great. But yeah, she just kind of like set me on my path of just knowing that this was something that I always knew I was going to run a theater. I always knew that that was me. And it's funny because growing up, everyone always says to you like, oh, you're going to move to New York and be on Broadway, right? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like 12, you know? I'm like, yeah.
I know my
Are we
future.
all? Is everyone gonna be on Broadway? Isn't that like what we're supposed to do, right? And then, you know, I think I kept that with me for a long time, where it's kind of that feeling of like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I think that for a long time, as I got older and started working professionally, I realized more and more that that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to live in New York for the rest of my life and do the Broadway world. It's not for me. It's for so many of my other friends who nail it and are amazing, but it's just not for me. And it took me a long time to kind of just be like, oh, that's okay. Like success is different for everyone. So I think when I got to Charleston, the biggest thing for me was that, you know, I had just come from working at all of these professional equity theaters, and I got here and I had this conversation with so many actors, equity and non-equity local professionals, that was just like, where's the professional theater? Where's the equity theater? Like, how do we not have one here specifically? Like Charleston, #1 city in America, year after year. We're known for our culture and arts and theater and all of these things, and I'm just jaw dropped that it doesn't exist. And I just had the conversation so many times, and it got to the point where, like, after having it like 20 times, I was like, okay, it's time. We got to do this. We got to make it happen. It's time. And it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to take a short amount of time. It's not going to happen in a jiffy. Yeah, right. No. Now that's been, you know, over 2.5 years now of behind the scenes planning and doing, and you know, I knew that I needed to find the right team, the right venue, the right timing, all of these things. For real, I just feel the most blessed to have all of you. Seriously, because there's no way I could have done any of this without you. Let's be real. So, you know, so now that we've kind of gotten to the point where, you know, we launched in, what was it, February or March now?
Yeah.
Early March. You know, really now we are getting the community involved. We're building the momentum. We're getting out there, explaining what we are and what we're doing.
We're doing a YouTube channel.
We're doing a YouTube channel. Perfect. Yeah, and I think that, you know, and what I would love to just kind of explain and delve into for the community is just what our mission is and what we're doing, and really just kind of how Charleston Playhouse is going to not only be about Charleston Playhouse and how it just is going to lift everybody in the community up. And not just the theater world too. One of the things I'm the most excited about is this partnership with College of Charleston Department of Theater and Dance. Whew, I just literally got chills on my arms of what that means to have an equity theater walking distance from a college that has a theater department. I mean, it is such an invaluable necessity, I feel like, to have. You know, one of the things that we're starting off with doing.
It's an opportunity, you know?
Oh my gosh.
The opportunity to not only impact the community, as you were saying, but also to partner with others in the community to help the community grow and be better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and giving the students, you know, the opportunity to work in a professional setting.
Yeah.
Before, or, you know, if they want to stay, now they can stay.
Yeah.
Now they can live in Charleston with their family and still perform professionally. But if their choice is to move to New York and do all that, like having the experience to work at a professional equity theater and be able to gain points towards your card and things like, I mean, it's invaluable. One of the things that we're starting off with is a Broadway cabaret series where we are bringing in local professionals, equity members, and Broadway actors as well to put on little intimate productions. You know, we're at a 104-seat theater. The College of Charleston Department of Theater and Dance is sponsoring us by providing us the space, and we will be bringing in the performers and producing these shows, which then we are going to hold a masterclass for their students afterwards. So 15 of their students in their musical theater program will be coming to the show for free. They will get to experience what that is, and then right afterwards, the performer is going to offer a masterclass where 3 for 8, and we're doing this every month, so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for these kids. 3 musical theater students are going to have the opportunity to sing and perform in front of this professional, whether it be a Broadway person or even a local professional who has so much to offer the younger generation with their experience and all of that, and be able to get constructive criticism and feedback, and to do a Q&A session and kind of just like pick their brain of, you know, how they got to where they are.
To me, that's where it's at. I mean, the Q&A is, to me, one of the key things that I would be excited about. Of course, the master class, but sometimes it feels like you're being taught. But when you can just say, hey, like, how did you get here? Like, even like, what were the stumbling blocks? Because I know how I felt going through those, and then having an opportunity to talk to somebody else, anybody out here with me, right? So they're going to be able to talk about that.
There's so much value to that. I mean, for the Southeast region especially, just for, like you said, for students to not have to flock to New York or wherever, just to be able to stay in their community or come here from somewhere else in Southeast Atlanta. I moved here from Nashville, and you hit the nail on the head. When you recognize this gap in professional equity musical theater, just like this, Charleston is such a bastion for the arts.
Yeah.
Like, how is this not here?
It's literally like, I hear it every day. The same, it's like the same, everyone feels that. I know.
And so now with the College of Charleston, it's just next level.
So the College of Charleston and that relationship I'm just very excited about. But there's so many other things besides the theater community, which in itself the obvious things. But what it's going to do for the hospitality and tourism industry of Charleston. The Charleston Visitors Bureau is over the moon about this because their words, entertainment has never been on the map of reasons why people travel to Charleston. Yeah. It's history, food and bev, all of that kind of stuff. And now we inevitably are going to do that because that's what regional theater does. And, when people come here and they get to, book their 5-star hotel and book their, their reservations at Husk and Halls and whatever, then they can also go and see a show one night.
We are producing the shows,
right,
which means we're gathering the talent both locally and from New York and Atlanta and all around, right, and then rehearsing in Charleston and then performing in Charleston. Of course, this is our vision out there.
It's ours. It's Charleston's.
And after we start with the Broadway Cabaret series.
Yeah.
It's the potential for economic growth and to lift up the entire Charleston and South Carolina community as a whole.
Yeah.
It's infinite. There's so much opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And along with that, you're talking about North Charleston Performing Arts Center and the Gilliard and all of these other places that are doing phenomenal things. There is room for everyone. We need all the different calibers of theater. We have so many unbelievable community theaters. We have so much going on downtown, all over the place here. We have so many of them and they're doing great work. We also have the Gilliard and the North Charleston Performing Arts Center that are doing other things and bringing in tours and doing all that. There's a gap. We're missing the Regional Equity Theater for Charleston. True. And that's what we're doing.
And almost for South Carolina. We will be, I think, the third, perhaps. I'm not sure. Yeah. Check me on
the third and the largest in the state of South Carolina. And
it's going to trickle down to the other theaters. People are going to, people are tourists, coming for a show with us and go to one of the other shows. And it's awesome.
Right.
So
a patron for us is a patron for all.
For everybody.
Right? So,
and
it's going to lift
can
everyone
audition,
up.
just one more here. One more.
Yeah,
It's great.
amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate your support. Please give us a thumbs up, a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel to learn more about Charleston Playhouse.